We're here back in the Fantasy Bar. 6 games on a Tuesday docket. We've narrowed it down to 6 of my favorite plays, and we've narrowed it down even further. 3 of my favorite games. We're going to give you some correlation to help build those mini game stacks. Some of my favorite mid-range plays. Some guys I think are too cheap tonight. And of course, my favorite play of the night. Who are we talking about? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Tuesday edition Beers Daily Fantasy Six-Pack. Hope everybody out there had a great weekend, a good Monday night in the NBA. We are here to break down the Tuesday slate with 6 of my favorite plays on FanDuel and DraftKings. Thank you, as always, for stopping by and hanging out here in the Fantasy Bar. Now, before we get to the plays, as always, a couple things. The tip jar here in the Fantasy Bar is that thumbs up button. Make sure you're hitting that here in the video. Also, subscribe to the channel. Get notified when these videos are released. We're going to be doing different days, a couple times a week, talking some NBA. So make sure you're subscribed. And if you're into sports betting, you're thinking about getting into sports betting, whatever it may be, head over to scoresandodds.com/beer for everything you need. Check it all out. The link in the description of the video. Tons of information, analytics, ability to compare odds across all different sports books, and of course, premium picks there as well. Check it out today, scoresandodds.com/beer. All right, let's get into Tuesday night again. We've taken these 6 games. We've narrowed them down to 3 games that I'm targeting. We'll give you a play on each side. Let's start with Minnesota and Golden State. I'm going shooting guard, small forward, Anthony Edwards of the T-Wolves. I think this is a nice buy low here on Anthony Edwards. You look at that price on FanDuel, way down at $6,600. Don't even hate that DraftKings price here. But on FanDuel, he really stands out as a guy who wants some exposure at that price. Now, has not been great of late, and I think that's going to help us here. People are going to look at this, say, not a lot of upside, not paying off these salaries. That's why it's fallen. So I think that'll help keep him off the radar a little bit. This game's certainly going to be targeted tonight every which way. But I think we could get a nice little discount here on the ownership for Anthony Edwards. In this matchup, he has thrived in. We've seen these 2 teams play 3 times. In one of the games, not so great, but 2 out of 3 I'll take all day long. A 49 and a big 67 DraftKings points performance earlier this season. I'm sure you remember that 48 points he dropped on the Golden State Warriors. I think Anthony Edwards, big time upside in that FanDuel price. Too cheap at just $6,600. All right, let's go to the Golden State side of things with some value at point guard, shooting guard with Gary Payton II. So should continue to see some big minutes here with this Golden State team. Klay Thompson once again out, Draymond Green out as well. That was one thing I forgot in the Anthony Edwards analysis. Doesn't have to deal with 2 of the best defenders on this Golden State team. But back to Gary Payton, a guy I love to utilize in DFS because he hits every single category. Really seen the steals start to add up here, but the offense has started to tick up as well, as they're going to need his offense with Klay Thompson on the shelf. And the Jordan Poole obviously going to help in that department as well. But Payton gives you a nice little discount on that price here on both sites, under 5K. DraftKings all the way down at 4,200. And like I mentioned, this game's certainly one you're going to want to target. Huge total in this one at 231 points. Very close spread here, which we like as well. Always the potential for some overtime here. And this one going to be stacked all kinds of different ways. But Gary Payton may slide through the cracks here. Nice value, nice way to differentiate your stacks and save some money to fit some of these expensive pieces here in Golden State and Minnesota. All right, on to our next game, Houston and the Clippers. Will start on the Rockets side with point guard, shooting guard, Dennis Schroder. So Schroder been solid for this Houston team coming over in that trade. We know they've dealt with a lot of injuries here. Kevin Porter Jr. been in and out of that lineup, so they could certainly use him here at this guard spot. And Porter Jr. questionable once again here tonight. And if he's out, really like Schroder that much more. But let's look at the numbers here. These 2 teams just played the other day on Sunday. Schroder 37 DraftKings points in that game. So that's solid. Shooting just 4 for 15. So it shows you the ability that he has to contribute across the board. So he gave you the assists, gave you the rebounds. Even when the shooting's not there, this guy can put numbers on the board. That shooting ticks up a little bit. Then we're talking about 40, 50-point fantasy outputs, and then we're really unlocking the ceiling here on Dennis Schroder. The Clippers have struggled at point guard, as we'd expect. Reggie Jackson provides a lot of offense, provides very little defense here. 6th most fantasy points allowed, Dennis Schroder. Solid prices here, under 6K, and a great matchup with Reggie Jackson and the Los Angeles Clippers. All right, speaking of the Clippers, let's go to that side. Let's go down low, a big man, Ivica Zubac. So tore through this Houston team in that game on Sunday. 14 points, 15 rebounds, and 6 block shots, good for 50 DraftKings points. And I think he has that similar level of upside here once again. Now, been playing well. 29 or more DraftKings points now in 5 of the last 6. And 3 of those games have been 38 plus, including that game we just talked about here. And you don't get a much better matchup than this Houston team. They are undersized. Christian Wood playing a lot of center. Zubac should be able to dominate, use his size to his advantage. Houston, not surprisingly, has allowed the most fantasy points to the center position. Prices are up. Don't think they're up high enough. Zubac, solid option here tonight against the Houston Rockets. All right, to our last game, Atlanta and Boston. We're going to start on the Atlanta side with shooting guard, small forward Bogdan Bogdanovic. So Atlanta dealing with some injuries here. John Collins looking doubtful to play once again here tonight. Lou Williams also going to miss this game. So when you run those numbers in our Court IQ tool here on RotoGrinders, obviously Trae Young going to headline the list, but second highest usage on the team, you guessed it, Bogdanovic right there. And we know Trae Young going to be a focus here for this Boston defense and Marcus Smart. It's going to leave Bogdanovic a lot of opportunities here to be productive. And I certainly think he's capable with the way he's playing. So he checks all the boxes for me. The usage, the recent form, let's look into that. Over the last 6 games, this guy's averaging 37 DraftKings points a game. So we're getting a solid 6x plus return on that number on average. And the next box, the matchup here with Boston. He has played very well against this team, including that last game. They just played 26 points scored in that one, almost 40 DraftKings points. Bogdan Bogdanovic, solid option here in the mid-range, especially over on DraftKings at just 5,900. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for Tuesday night. Before we do that, we want to continue our Beast of the Night contest. It's free to play, easy to play, and this is a thank you for you guys for checking out the video, hitting that thumbs up button, and hanging out here in the fantasy bar. All you got to do is guess fantasy points on FanDuel for my favorite play of the night. The closest guess will win themselves a free week of RotoGrinders Premium, a chance to check everything out, including Court IQ, which I'm always talking about here on the video. So without further ado, let's wrap this baby up. My favorite play for Tuesday night, you know him as the Beast of the Night. All right, Beast time. You've narrowed down the team to Boston. We're rolling with small forward, power forward Jason Tatum, tonight's Beast of the Night. So this FanDuel price was kind of surprising on Jason Tatum, all the way down to 8,900 here. And I consider him one of the studs on the slate. Some of these guys you're paying upwards of 10, 11,000 for. When we can pay sub 9,000 on a guy of Jason Tatum's status, it would not shock me to see him be one of the, if not the highest scoring guy on this entire slate tonight. But let's dig into some of the numbers here. 55 or more DraftKings points now in half of the games he's played over the last 6, and has really dominated Atlanta this season. We're talking averaging almost 31 points per game, over 8 rebounds per game, and obviously a ton of fantasy production to go along with that. Simply put, a great matchup here. Too cheap over on FanDuel. Jason Tatum, easily my favorite play on the board in tonight's Beast of the Night. All right, guys, that'll do it here for Tuesday night in the Fantasy Bar. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and the picks. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Don't forget, fantasy points for Jason Tatum on FanDuel for your shot at some free RotoGrinders Premium. And who is your Beast of the Night? Who's your play of the night? Let me know in that comment section below. Also, head over to scoresandodds.com/beer for all of your sports betting needs. That link again in the description of the video. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Best of luck in the NBA tonight. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with 6 more plays for you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. You know when these videos are coming out. But enjoy the hoops tonight, guys. Again, thanks for hanging out, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist